Okay, so it basically seems like we have Katt Williams did an interview. Okay, now I posted some comment in the community channel about certain aspects of the interview I thought were funny. I thought the SNL skit on the Katt Williams interview was just like really good because it kind of captured the sentiment that a lot of us watching the interview felt. There was some shit that Katt Williams said that was just, it was hilarious, right? It was kind of outrageous. Like, then there were other things he said that kind of like, some of us may have like assumed, and then he validated it. But here's the thing, like, Katt Williams is, first of all, an individual person. Okay, so like he's a human being on planet Earth in the year 2024. That's the first thing. Katt Williams has freedom. This is the free world. He can do and say whatever the fuck he wants to. He can form opinions on whatever he wants to form opinions on. He is also literally an entertainer. Okay, and the way that he tells stories as a comedian is funny as fuck. And that's why like a lot of us like go and listen to him. Like he writes his jokes. As a person who was a comedian, he spoke on a lot of things that like are happening in the comedy scene. Like he saw someone steal jokes. There have also been other comedians like Abba and Preach are comedians who are there also in that field, and they validated what Katt Williams said. They even had snippets of it where like there were claims that there were certain stand-up comedians like Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer who stole jokes from other comedians. That is not cool. Intellectual property is a real thing, and stealing it is a criminal offense. So, calling criminals isn't a mean thing to do. Now, it looks like Dave Chappelle had a stand-up show, and someone recorded it, and the Carter family like now clipped it, and they're like responding to Dave Chappelle. And like, here's what I have to say to that. So it sounds like Dave Chappelle, his bigger question to all of it, like I listened to it. The overarching theme that I'm getting from listening to Dave Chappelle's response is this. Why are you trying to come after people's bag? Yes, people have been doing shady shit, but why are you exposing them? They need their bag. And let's roll that back for a second because we live in society. Now, especially with entertainers and cancel culture, like we just saw Claudine Gay get like canceled virtually and then lost her position at Harvard, right? So, but why is it that only Claudine Gay has to be held accountable, right? Also, only black women now have to be held accountable. What about the other ones? What about the males? So when you're literally calling out like here's the thing too. These comedians, when they have these stand-up shows, they're trying to be successful like everyone else. If you're going around stealing things from other people who worked very hard to create that content, like creating a stand-up set, creating a song, creating a YouTube video, any sort of intellectual piece of property that is yours and is not someone else's, and someone else comes and steals it, you will be very upset. This is why many of us are like adamantly streaming Taylor's version of everything. Why? Because Scooter, I don't think you guys heard that speech. Okay, it was a speech a couple of years ago that Taylor Swift gave. It was called at the Women in Music event. I will put it in the description box. But Taylor Swift talked about the fact that like Scooter Braun stole her music and stole the rights to her music, and she wants it back, and he sold it to someone else, and he made all of this money, and she wrote all of those songs. It was her intellectual property. And so she re-recorded all of her songs, and the masters and rights to those songs belong to her, and that's a big fucking deal. It's a big deal. Owning your work is a big deal, okay? And another part of that is like your reputation. So a lot of these like actors are thespians, right? So another word for actor is thespian. And you as an actor or an actress get to choose what roles that you take on. So like, let's say if you have morals and values, you can choose to not take on roles that don't align with your values. So, unfortunately, in the black community, a lot of roles have been just exploitative, right? Like, we have Halle Berry, who, she was, like, the first black actress to win an award, but she did it for being, like, a crackhead prostitute. Or she was, like, a crack whore. She was, like, a mother who was down bad, downtrodden, and we see her on screen getting, like, just fucked by a white male that's what she won the actress of the year. It was like the main award for like women in acting. That's what she won it for. It was a historic moment because like so many black women before Halle Berry had been like aiming to win the award. We had all of this like we had all these problems. We still have them, but like these representation problems, these like racial caste divide problems happening, and then Halle Berry wins. So now it's supposed to like fix some things. So clearly, like Halle Berry and her personal morals, you know, maybe they don't stand when it comes to taking roles or something. She can take whatever role she wants. It's up to her. It's up to every individual person, right? But if for the rest, for some of us who just kind of like don't want to, how do we say, like maybe your personal morals or values don't align with that, so you don't want to like go watch the crackhead movie or something, so you don't even know that like Halle Berry won a Golden Globe or whatever the award was because you didn't watch the movie about the crackhead. Okay, that's fine. Like there should be some other piece of content that you should be able to watch, and maybe like some actress or actor that you could support in real life because you're like, oh well, this person actually does align with my values, and so I want to, you know, just go support this thing instead. And that's okay too. And I feel like all a lot of people are saying right now is like, well, if there were all of these like people who, because a lot of these people, Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, Steve Harvey, they are being awarded with a lot of things. Like, Steve Harvey is, you know, a host for Family Feud. It's a very family friendly show. A lot of people who do hold like very religious values watch that show because it's kind of clean comedy, right? So if you're portraying this image as being like a clean comedian, and then in reality you are like doing all of this like weird and funky shit, maybe people don't want to be aligned with you because of that. And that's a real like stance that people can take. It's like when racist companies don't hire black people. They can be like, we don't like blacks. We don't want to hire them. This is how we feel. Then we can be like, great, we don't want to shop there. We don't want to go where you are. See how everybody can make choices? Also, like black people who watch stand-up can be like, ooh, I don't like this. Steve Harvey is like stealing shit. I don't want to support him anymore. We have that right too. Everybody gets to choose. So if Holly weirdos want to get behind like just a completely gay agenda that's like kind of pushing it on everyone else and then forcing black males to wear dresses in all of their roles, it's okay for you to be like, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't support that. As a consumer, you can like stop watching those movies. You see how everybody like has choices to make. So when Dave Chappelle is talking about getting in the bag, and then he also made another comment about like, I lost everything. Well, I don't know, Dave. Like, what exactly did you lose? Because, like, you own the rights to... I understand that profitability in terms of, like, marketing and content ownership in Hollywood is difficult, right? Because there are certain companies that own everything, these productions... So, ownership is difficult for everyone. It isn't just you, Dave. So, if you are... This is why many of us have love YouTube, right? Because YouTube is a platform that enables, they don't own your content. You own your content. They literally, and like you are, it's a B2B sort of relationship. You are the content owner, you are the content producer, and if you are able to like build an audience on YouTube and then other people interact and watch, then there can be like a monetary exchange between your content creation and a platform or a company, Google being the subsidiary larger company, can offer you AdSense, right, that it would have given someone else to try to meet your audience. This is another reason why I continue to say, like, black women, please come online, because, like, black women do have a very large buying power, especially in America. Those ad dollars, they need somewhere to go. Like, we need black content creators to come and make things so that the black consumers can enter that chain. if it's not very clear, also, it's way more than just black consumers who are interested in this like black counterculture topic areas, right? Because that interview has, I think, like 55 million views at this point, and it's only been out for a week. It's already become an SNL skit. Like, it's a major culture shifter. It's a major point of conversation. And I think that Dave Chappelle made another point that I think is kind of interesting. He said, "Well, why aren't the other the white comedians held to the same standard or something?" And he was trying to include white comedians here. And I would say I don't think that's true. Like, there, first of all, like the black, and I've said this before, I always bring in statistics, but in America specifically, there's just a smaller number of black people. It's like 13% of the population, right? So that means a larger percentage, like 60 some percent of the people in America are white. So that's a very large percent. That's like 5 times, okay, the amount of people who he's clumping off all into one. But I could point to two now, like Andrew Schultz and Seinfeld, right, who both seem to have a very high moral integrity. And like, here, they are here. There's, I don't know. There's a lot of also, I feel like the other comedians have been held accountable. What's that one guy who was making the jokes about like rape or something, and then he got canceled? He was white, and I think he even had like a black wife, but he was like super canceled. Bill Maher, many times has been like canceled. I think he did a whole documentary about cancel culture. Like, I don't think Dave Chappelle is like kind of looking far enough in terms of like, you know, media, like late night hosts, and you know, the things that people have overcome and the ways that they also have been held accountable, and their personal life choices and moral values have been questioned. It isn't just him. Anyway, I do want to point to some other content that, like, I think if you're wondering when Dave Chappelle is talking about himself being canceled, if you have not seen the Inside the Actor Studio interview, I don't know if they, I think they took the whole thing off, but you can find like clips of it, and I made a little snippet that was about that. I think you should watch it because I feel like Dave is the most honest in that video, and like, I don't know if we're gonna get to that level of openness really ever again, because it does feel like he is turning a new leaf in terms of censorship, where he's saying like, I can't believe that Katt said things that are true. Like, what? Like, how could you honestly be a grown man in society and then say like to another grown man, like, or even feel that way? Like, why would you feel like there would be something that would be like off limits to talk about if it happened in real life? The only reason you're saying that is because you're trying to hide something. And there's no part of your humanity that you should have to hide. If you feel the need to have to hide it, you should be getting help for it. Otherwise, it probably should be free game to like have a conversation about. I do understand that there are certain things that people like to keep within their family, but I even think in the black community, we aren't at a place where people can start seriously having those conversations, because most of those like secrets are about like torture, incest, thieving, it's like some criminal act. And those things need to be talked about, because that's why the community as a whole is failing. So those are just my quick thoughts on Dave Chappelle.